Today, I'm talking about the qualities that the top 1% of people have that you don't even know about. I'm pretty sure that this will be a very important video for you if you wanna get ahead, if you wanna make money. And it was like mind-blowing for me for the first time when I just got introduced to those maybe like 5 qualities or maybe like 5 traits, because I was born and raised in a very small city, like even town, like 20,000 people live in this town today, so maybe back in the day it was even like less. But I never saw a top 1% person until I was like 18, and it was like really easy for me to recognize whenever somebody is just like a cut above man or cut above woman or a cut above person. You know, like when somebody is outstanding from the crowd, it was just like real easy for me to know. And I'm really glad that I have this quality, because it's like easy for me to recognize people. But the first time I just came across those qualities, the first time I met people that were like top 1%, I was like really surprised, because it was like so far away from my reality. And the first trait or the first quality or the first mindset that the top 1% people have is that 1 is better than 0, right? And this is a concept from Gary Vaynerchuk, but the first time I experienced this in my life was when I went to Rhode Island as a student. I went on this student program called Work and Travel, and I had this sales manager, Phil. His name is Phil, and everybody loved this guy. He was like very well respected, and as an employee, I feared this guy. He was just like old guy. He drove an Audi, and the way he carried himself, you just know you cannot like joke with him. You just knew that you have to take this guy seriously. And where I'm coming from, like Bulgaria, you know, everybody wants to be perfect, although nobody is perfect. But this is just the mindset. You need to do things perfect. And I remember I had to like mop this floor, and there was like an event coming up, and I just had like very little time to mop this floor. And I spoke to Phil, and I asked him, I have very little time to mop the floor, the event is starting. And he was like, just make it work, just make it work. And it was kind of like, I just like mopped the floor, and I didn't put like my best effort, but he was still happy. It was like, it was not perfect, but it would work. And so if like the mop was like all dirty, people would complain about it. But if it was like somehow just clean, not that many people would complain about it. So it's not like all about perfection, it's about just like doing the work. And this is like something that the top 1% people do. And Phil is definitely in the very top 1%. And this kind of like takes perfection out of the equation, because broke people, when I was broke, I think I needed to do things perfectly, right? And I started recording videos on YouTube, for example, and I did the perfect video, and it had like 2 views, and the video I did like, I don't know, the video that got the most popular on my YouTube channel, it was just like one of those videos that I kind of did. So it's like no perfection, I just did it. So 1 is greater than 0. Just do the work. Do the work. And this is what the top 1% does. They're doing the work because, let's say, if I had a bad website, I can still sell a product. The other option is like, if I don't have a website, I cannot sell anything. If I had a bad company, I can still make money. But if I don't have a company, I cannot make any money. This is like the difference, right? If I had something bad, I can improve it. Versus I don't have anything, there is nothing to improve. And this is like huge for me. So whenever I set a campaign, whenever I do like copywriting, whenever I do anything in my life, I make sure I complete the project. It might be a shit project, but it's like a complete project. And if it's a shit project, I can still improve it. If I don't have a project, there is nothing I can do, I just have nothing. And this brings me to the second thing. Moving in the right direction, regardless of how long it takes, When I was broke, I wanted like quick results, and I was just like watching those like drop shipping advice, and I was just like following, I don't know, how to make money quickly and how to get rich fast, all that type of things. But when I started working, I realized that if you want to do something with your life, it's really hard and it's gonna take time. And whenever I go, let's say on YouTube or wherever I go, and when I talk to like other business owners or other people who are successful, it took them time, but they are moving in the right direction. For example, I'm asking myself, if I make these videos, where I'm going, where I'm gonna end up. Let's say I'm creating 104 videos per year. If I create 104 years per year, in 10 years, I'm gonna have 1,000 videos. So this is something that will help me. So this is the right direction. If I smoke every day and I drink every day, where I'm gonna end up in like 10 years? Probably I'm gonna be an alcoholic, right? So this is not the right direction. Somehow people that are the top 1%, they know what is the right direction. They know what to do. And they just kind of like view things through long-term thinking. For example, if I do this, how is it affecting my life in like 10 years? How this little thing I do today affects my life in like 40 years? And I think this is like a very good question to figure out if you're moving in the right direction. And number 3, the top 1% are doing things differently, right? They're going against all odds. For example, I'm just gonna share a personal story here because I went to a law university, and I had this friend, and we were like very close, and we were talking about stuff all the time. And I was like, hey man, I'm just gonna go into digital marketing. I'm gonna like ditch my law degree, and I'm just gonna go all in into this like endeavor. And he was like, oh, you're crazy. You've been studying for 5 years. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna succeed in digital marketing? You don't know nothing about it. And just like 5 years later, I'm like quite successful in digital marketing, And this friend of mine is like, how can I do the things that you did, right? But all of my classmates just did what was like they were supposed to do, and I did things differently, And it matters. I'm not sure why, but you need to like think differently and make things differently. So whatever like the 80% of people do, you just do the opposite and you'll be very, very good for yourself. I don't want to hate, let's say it, but like 80% of the people are just doing social media. After they graduate university, they want to do what they studied. They're not really passionate about the things they do. So quit social media, follow your passion, do things differently, and you'll be very, very well off. And this is the third thing. The fourth thing that the top 1% people do, they invest in education. And I realized that back in the days, because let's say you want to do something today. For example, you want to build a house, but you're not building a house because you don't have the experience to build a house. You don't know how to build the house. So it's like all education, it's all experience, it's all how to do stuff, you know. You don't have motivation, it's because you don't know how to motivate yourself. That's why you need to invest in education. I can do things better than you, I can do things faster than you, because I know how to do them that way. So it's like all how to, it's all education. So make sure you invest in your education properly, make sure you follow the right channels, make sure you follow the right online courses, or make sure you go to like the right universities. You know the drill, you know. And number 5, it's like all about sacrifice, you know. In order to be in the 1%, you just need to like sacrifice long Friday nights, long weekends. You need to like sacrifice resting. You need to like work long hours. And all of the people I know that are like millionaires, they just like work like crazy. And this is like their number 1 priority. They sacrifice their free time. In many cases, they sacrifice their health, they sacrifice their relationships. Should you do it? I don't know. But it happens to me as well. For example, it's Friday night right now. It's like 1 a.m. at night almost, and I'm recording this video. If I was like, I don't know, somebody who is just like normal person, I'd be in a bar, or I'd be in bed, or I'd be like watching TV series. But I'm working, man. I'm working, you know. And I'm working because I want to work. I want to record those videos because I know that this message needs to be heard, right? So without sacrifices, you won't be a top 1%. You might, I don't know, hear some advice how there is like work-life balance, but it didn't happen to me. I work like crazy, I work all the time. It didn't happen to some of the people I know. So those are just the facts. And those were the 5 things, or the 5 traits, or the 5 mindsets that the top 1% people adopt that you're probably lacking. My name is Nico. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you check out the links in the description below. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.